Hey team, Matt here. Got asked via email 2 days ago now, it was 2 days ago, tell me how the best small business in the world, this thing, will actually help me with my business because I've got a few problems. How does that help me solve it? Fair question. If everything was a fair question, that is it. So I wrote back and said, okay, give me your top 4 problems and I'll show you how the book applies to it. He said, yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. So I said, rather than me actually writing you a long email, I'll make you a video, post it online, and you can take a look at it and see what you think. How does that sound? Fair enough? Cool. So he said, number one problem is for him is that he has the wrong people on his team at the moment and they're not performing. He's just got a general frustration with the team, right? So there are some people on his bus that he doesn't really want there, and he wants to be able to recruit better people. So really common problem. Bosses not happy with their staff. You see it all the time. It's very common and it's an easy fix. It's actually quite simple. So what we do in the book, cool. So section 2, we have a whole thing in section 2 on engagement. So how to get your team engaged with where you're taking the business. So in order for you to have a team that's going to be doing the right things for you, firstly, you've got to have them engaged with where they're going. Now, go back a step, okay? So go back. So before they get engaged with something, they've actually got to be engaged with something. So, number one reason that businesses fail, lack of a plan. The data says that the number one reason that businesses fail, and we've seen a lot of this happening over the last couple of years with COVID and that sort of thing, is a lack of a plan, and a plan that will actually stand the test of time and actually be robust in the face of the challenges that we face on everyday sort of business, and also on that big stuff like COVID and GFC and that sort of thing. So before we do any engagement, we're going to go back and get a plan, and most businesses don't have a plan. So the first thing this does, section 1 of the best small business in the world, that is all about getting a plan. And getting a plan that actually means something and actually will be a usable, engageable, if you know what I mean, plan. So we go over 3 really big things in section 1. We go over your goal. So where do you want to go with your business? We talk about the values, which is kind of like the rules for the game. And you know how we said that the staff have to be engaged? Well, they have to know where you're going, and they have to know the rules of the game and how we're going to actually play the game. So we have the goal, we have the rules of the game, and we also have the higher purpose. So those 3 things combined, that's your vision, okay? And in order for your team to be engaged, they've got to be engaged with something. That something is your vision. So we start there because it's really important. And we've got this 1-page plan so that we can put up on the wall, show the team and say, hey guys, this is where we're going. And then the next question is, how are you going to help us get there? Where do you fit in? Make sense? Cool. So section 2 of the program is here. Section 2 is all about engagement. There's a whole bunch of online sessions. So when you buy the program, yes, you get a hard copy of the book and all of the other material that we send out with it. It's really cool. Anywhere in the world for less than the cost of a couple of tanks of gas. But aside from that, that's not where the real value is, because the real value is, if you would like to know more about stuff, Sturdy and I, the co-authors of this, do a drop-in session every 2 weeks, and you can come and ask us questions. And one of the things that we're going to be going over in these sessions is a thing called Recruit Right. Now, Recruit Right is a program that I built 15 years ago. And what it is, it's a way of recruiting people that use world's best practice. But what I've done is I've taken away all the hard, like the book, or one of the books that it was taken from is like literally that thick, right? But what I've done is I've made it really simple. And as one of our online sessions, I will take you through that. I'll also talk to you about psychometric profiling, and I'll give you a psychometric profiling tool, and I'll also give you the book that I wrote on psychometric profiling. So if you want to know how to recruit the right people and engage them, section 2 and our online sessions. Make sense? Cool. Second biggest problem that this guy said was the business was he's readily getting beaten by his competition. So his competition, and he's in the automotive industry, small business, automotive industry. Basically, he sells stuff, things, car parts, all that sort of stuff. He also does service. So he services cars, he sells time. So he sells time and things, like a lot of small businesses. And he's getting beaten by the competition. So, section 2, again, it's all in here. The answers to your problems are all in here. Section 2. We go over a couple of things. The first thing we do is a reality check, because often we're lulled into a kind of a false sense of security, because what we do is we think that what we do is really great, and there's a really cool reality check in section 2. And so we do that, and then we start defining, once we've figured out the world that we live in, some actions to actually figure out who our competition is and how we're going to beat them. You can't go and beat the same people, or you can't go and beat everybody in the same way. So we pick apart your competitors and we put some actions in that we can beat them. It's really cool. We also look as far as if you want to get more customers and take some customers off your competition. We look at your value proposition. So why would I even come and see you in the first place? Why? Why? What have you got that I should be interested in? So we do a whole bunch of exercises to really explore that and pull that apart and make sure that you're crystal clear on your value proposition. And then we also look at not just the value proposition, but what you actually offer as far as your product or your service, or both. So we do a whole bunch of stuff like that. But following that on, and he said the third biggest problem he had was marketing. His marketing wasn't hitting the mark, and it kind of ties in with his issue that he had with his big competition. So what we do is, in section 3 of the best small business in the world, section 3, we got a couple of really, really cool strategic sort of questions that we work through and we give you some answers on. The first thing we do is we look at your brand promise and your target market. So there's actually a process that we go through. The first thing we do is we define your target market, and there's a bunch of tools and techniques that we've got in the program to actually do a really, really good job of that. Most people get their target market wrong, and they go, it's all women 18 plus. There's not a business out there that's got all women as 18 plus as their target market. Your target market has some very, very unique characteristics, and we want to make sure that we're defining our target market by these characteristics. So that's the first part. Then the next thing is, once we've figured out our target market, which is used to define the language that we're going to use in order to communicate with them, then we figure out, okay, what do we want to say to them? And that comes in the form of a brand promise. So this is the promise that you make to them. Every time they come in, they're going to get something, a thing, okay? And there's 3 elements to a really, really effective brand promise. So we take you through those. Really, really simple, easy exercise to do, but it does take a bit of brain power. It's really cool. And once we've got that, we tie that in, obviously, with the value proposition. Most people, when they're looking at marketing and they're saying, my marketing's not effective, they look at the platform. So they say, social media isn't working, or advertising on the radio or the local rag or whatever, that's not working. If we go back a couple of steps and look at who we're talking to, what are we saying, that will give us a far better ability to really connect with the people who talk to us. And we've got some other tools in here as well to make sure that what we think is right is actually proving itself to be right. Make sense? Okay. The other thing that he said, and it kind of related to the first one, which is about his team, is he said that some days he goes into his business and everyone's going in all directions. I've got some people doing this, some people doing that, all that sort of stuff, and they're not doing the things that he knows that they should do. So we've got a couple of tools in section 3 again, which you'll find really, really handy. So if you want to drive the right behaviors in your business, you need some tools to actually do that and to reward that. So you reward the good behavior and obviously, don't encourage the bad behavior. So we've got a whole bunch of tools to do that. We've also got a whole section on systems, because if you want to make money, then a great idea will make you money, but systems will make you rich. So we help you figure out what systems you need. And by the way, there's only 3 systems that you actually need, and each business is different and will have different systems. There's only 3, and you need all 3. And on the last part of our 1-page plan, if you want people to all be heading in the same direction, then you define what the direction is that they can do something about right here and right now. So there's this whole little section down the bottom dedicated to what can I do today to help us take us from here to there. Make sense? Cool. So that's the answers to his questions. Hopefully you may have found some value in that as well. If you've got a business problem that you would like us to address, then this is a Facebook group for just that. So flick us an email, matt@mattfitzsimmons.com or sturdy@sturdycoaching.com, or just to the page admins. Send us a question that you'd like some help with, and we'll see what we can do for you. All right. Have a lovely day.